Jill and I met in a pub in Littlehampton called the Arran View, and then we carried on courting for 9 months, and then we were married. We bought a house in Rustington. We had children, Louise and Emma. It was a normal, good life. We had lovely holidays together, and we built our own house together, and Jill worked at the body shop for about 20 years, and I worked in the building trade. She was very outgoing, wore very short miniskirts, I remember that, and because in those days it was the fashion. And she was just a good wife and a good person. About 18 years ago, she suddenly started having a fit. It came to light after a few examinations and hospital visits that she had a tiny little lump on the brain, was causing the fits. We just carried on a normal life, really, for the next few years, and until, you know, it started to grow a little bit. Having the fits affected both our lives because she would just all of a sudden just go down, you know, and wherever we were. In fact, one day she even had 20 in one day. It was embarrassing for her, I think, and it was hard for me to try and explain to people what was happening, like, you know. And in the end, if we wanted to go anywhere, then we had to have a wheelchair, but she didn't like that. She never did, hated the wheelchair. You could see that she was slowly getting worse. It came to the stage where she wasn't walking at all, and after a time it got too difficult, so decided to pack up work. To become a carer for Jill was very strange because I'd literally been working since I was 15, to go out every day and work and come home and my dinner was on the table and my bath was run, and then to suddenly stop and change the role was quite difficult for me. After a while, Jill did get bedridden, and I still kept her at home where she wanted to be. Jill wanted to die at home, and this is where the St Barnabas came in.
I'm a healthcare assistant at St Barnabas Hospice, and I've been working here for 25 years this year. Originally I worked in the inpatient unit and then got a job with Hospice at Home, and been doing that ever since. The difference between working in the inpatient unit to the Hospice at Home is you're obviously giving patients a choice to be at home and be nursed at home. You have to make a lot of choices. You haven't got the instant team there to be able to ask advice, although we've got telephone contact and things like that. But it's actually just being in the patient's environment rather than our environment. I believe people want to stay at home, and they tell us they want to stay at home because they've got their family around them 24 hours a day, and they've got things they know and that are familiar to them, and it just makes them relax more and be comfortable. I mean, we often talk a lot about a good death, and that's what we want for all our patients, wherever they choose to die. But I believe we do make a difference to that happening. And it means for relatives and carers, we can cover 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I got in touch with St Barnabas about 10 days before Jill died, and I was reluctant to ring because she didn't want to go in. That's what she didn't want to do. It took the pressure off me, you wouldn't believe it, because I could become a husband again rather than a carer. And when I knew they were coming, I was quite happy, you know. I'd wait for them to come in the morning, and I'd already seen to Jill the best I could. The nurses would go in and make her really comfortable, and they did everything, and when they left later on in the morning, she was happy, she was clean, she was fabulous.
He's a tremendous fella. He looked after his wife, I think, for 10 years before we turned up. So he'd done a fantastic job. I don't know how he felt about us coming in initially. It must have been very difficult for him. But we weren't there to take over the care or say we could do it any better. It was just working alongside both of them for the best end for Jill and the best care we could possibly give her.
I used to have a real laugh with Rachel because she would come in the morning and she would have her hair all wonderful, done beautiful, her makeup all fabulous. And then when she came back in the afternoon, her hair was all over the place, she had no lipstick on, and I used to mention this to her just for fun.
He'd joke a lot with me. He'd always comment about my red lipstick, you know. There was a lot of laughter in that house and a lot of love. He just adored Jill. It was just wonderful to see. And that's, as I say, part of why I do this job, because you just meet such lovely people. And yeah, you do become part of the family, and that's the honour of doing the job. It's a special time, sad time often, but it's a special time.
The nurses were wonderful. I mean, they were so jolly, and under the conditions, they made me feel so much better. The last day of Jill's life was, it was almost perfect the way she died, in bed where she loved, in the house she loved, and the people around her that she loved. But she wouldn't have been happy when she died like she was without St Barnabas. I realised that they're just like angels.